We're casting our mind to PSG a week, or Wednesday, it was a week from this game. Now, PSG, Bart, when we have a quick scan at them, someone is going to shout at me for saying this. Yes, the French Ligue 1, the Farmers League, blah, blah, blah. Let's get all that out the way. But they are topped by a considerable distance. They have scored 62 goals, which is 12 more than anyone else, and they have conceded 7 less than anyone else. I know the expectancy will be there, but let's be statistical and factual. Champions League, this is maybe the ultimate measure. They qualified in 15th place, which seems bizarre that we're playing them having been top, but there we go. They won half their games. They lost 3, they drew 1, scored 14, which is about sort of mid-table-ish in the Champions League, but defensively, Bart, they only shipped 9, which, as you know, if you scan up, that is a very, very good number and would put them a bit higher up the league. So that is to take mind of. Stats-wise and goals, I always think Dembele for PSG is injured, but the fact he's bagged 25 goals this season, he's on a little run, is something just to keep instead. And Bradley Barcola, 16 goals, 11 assists. We know how fast he is as well, Bart. So in terms of going to Paris, the threats, the individual players, where they sit in the league, etc., this is no easy game at all from my pure retail stats. What have you got for everyone?
I'd love to give you some good news, Dave, but if you look at Understat, right, which is our old way of looking at what they should have got and what they have got, right?
Yeah.
It's an older model, but I still think it holds water. So, yes, they're top. They hit all the factors of Farmers League. Yeah. Give you the conversion if you really want to go there. But anyway, they've scored, as you said, 62 goals, which is 12 more than anybody else. But Understat has them, they should have scored 70 goals.
Jeez.
So that they're actually underperforming by 8 goals in the league. That's quite a feat, if I'm being honest with you. That's a huge amount of goals they're not doing. So they've conceded 22, they should have conceded 25. So they're running a bit hot the other end. But why not? I mean, 3 goals is not a lot, that's just not a lot. Points wise, I think they've got them as expected points to be 55 and they've got 59. So they've been a bit fortunate by the odd 2 games, but they're still well ahead of the opposition and they will no doubt cruise to a league victory. So there's just some things to be wary of there that they probably, it could be one of them games. They could score a lot. I mean, they conceded 22. They conceded just they've been on with Understand that they conceded a goal a game. All right, just to keep that in mind. So that's where we are with that. If we look at in terms of our old favourite, brief, we look at shots they concede. If I can find the page, I actually want to find, but they are genuinely, I think, not. It's hard. It's hard when you're looking at. You kind of go, right, what are they? What are they? What are they?
Yeah.
What are they kind of? Is the league decent? Those kind of things. It's not downgrade or anything, but it's just not. It's really hard to quantify leagues and go through it and understand where they are. I'm just trying to find a match log, which is not doing me any favors. There you go, match logs. Right. So. Because you got to remember that the Bundesliga, we take 15% off to move it down. The League One's even lower than that. It's about 20% of stats. But if we look at where we are, so they generally are the last few games, shots they've taken. I mean, they shoot a lot, right? I mean, you're seeing the figures there. These are 20, 15, 20, 20, 15. That's a lot of shots a game, right? Because we've been dealing with teams that have 10 or 15 shots. So what do they concede? They concede again, though. They're conceding the last game they only conceded 4, but previously it's well over 10 shots, even nearly 15 has been an average. So that does give you a bit of an indication that they might allow us to have a lot of shots on target, about 5 shots on target a game, and they managed to achieve nearly 10 shots on target a game, which again is more than Newcastle managed against us. So yeah, there are some bits in there to be aware of. They could create about 2.5 XG a game on average, and they concede. Yeah, they're pretty consistent. They're about 1 XG a game. So, but the caveat here is when have they played? So when they played City, they conceded 2 XG. Now City, as we know, they're not in the best of form, but they're still better than probably most of the Liga One. Okay, so City only created 9 shots and they only had 6 on target. City did that. City did that. City had 9 shots and 6 of those were on target, and they created 1.7 XG. Right? What did Paris do against City? Paris had 26 shots, 8 on target, created 2.8 XG. So it becomes a bit. What I'm trying to say is it's a bit more balanced than in the league. They're not there 1 XG and they're creating nearly 2. When it comes to a slightly better position, they're conceding more XG. They're still keeping the same rate of creating XG shots. So I think there's something in that in terms of their defense is good for the league, and it looks okay in the Champions League. But when they come up against some really good sides, they might struggle. So if you look at this is them. They play Bayern Munich, which arguably are in better form than City this season. They only created 0.8 XG, and they only had 11 shots with only 3 on target. And Bayern had 18 shots and created 2.4 XG. So it's just one of those where you can look at it and go, potentially when they come up against the absolute a better quality side, which we undoubtedly are, right? Please, French fans, I'm not having a go at your league, but it's just factual. Liverpool, in terms of all the rankings, are better than all the teams in the League One. PSG will remain to be seen the other day. So I think there's something in that our quality should mean we try a better level of threat in XG, and we should be able to defend against it. And this is what successive PSG managers have said. If you want to win the European Cup, hold money with PSG, it's really difficult because their day-to-day games are just not at the right level.
No.
So you don't get in. So you're going to go through the motions in the league and you just go, yeah, we can win that 1-3-4-0. You switch off. But when you're in the top game back in the Champions League, you can't switch off. You've got to keep that quality going. So even when they had phenomenal players, they still got done in the semis against Barcelona for a massive lead. So there's just things like that where because they don't practice every single week playing against top quality opposition, it can be a problem for when they go to Europe. So yeah, I would say if we can do our process right, we don't have any lapses at the back. I think this will be during Ramadan, but that'll be interesting to see how it affects Kanate and Mo. It'll be 1-1. I personally think if we create the XG that if Bayern Munich can go there and create 2.4 XG, we could definitely go and do that. And then it's just about keeping it shut at the back, which again I'm fairly confident we can do. It's just then can we take those chances we curate? So the choice of centre forward will be really critical for us, and or who's available. If Joss is available, I think all things are rosy. If not, then I'm not sure playing Diaz against PSG up front is going to be the way forward. But should be an interesting game. We should have more than enough quality, given Bayern have done that to them to go and do that. I mean, the City, to be fair, created enough XG there to win the game. It's just City can't get the back door shut. So
it's funny, isn't it? As you mentioned that, because Jan Temple had put there as we were chatting that it's transitions this season that G have had issue with. It's a midfield issue, and it would seem to be that because they can score a lot and they can concede or create a lot of chances, concede a lot of chances in that regard as well, especially against elite sides where we're seeing this. And I see Heliol there has mentioned Vitinha will be eaten alive by Liverpool's midfield. And he also asked a question that I was thinking, and it's not sort of plotting out the whole game. We've seen Slot's tactical flexibility recently, Bart, as in we talked about that City game where he could play all 4 midfielders, shut the game down, only have 34% possession, but dominate still, as opposed to where we flip it round and we play the 3 up top and go for it. by the nature of PSG being high XG creating, but high XG conceded at the same time, do you think he will trade punch for punch, or do you think you could see the 4-2-4 with all four midfielders in it? And what would you be leaning towards for you?
I think it's unlikely he plays four midfielders because ultimately he's got to win the game at the weekend, which is Southampton. No, it's Southampton, but it's a league game. We need 3 points, right? I do think he could play the box again, though. Jota could quite easily play that. He could quite easily drop in and play next to Dom, and then you have Diaz and Mo as your outlets. So, yeah, I think he could do that quite easily, and that would give us a dominant base in the midfield. Although I would prefer, I think Slot would fancy this game. I think he would look at that and go, more detail than we've just done, but I think he could look at that and go, I can cause more instability to their system than they can to us.
Yes.
He might start with a basis of saying, look, I'll dominate midfield. I'll put 4 in there, whether that's Jota dropping in or there's play 4 midfielders. And then we'll create from there. So rather than City, we did that as a more of a, we're only going to let you play in this space.
Yeah.
Whereas PSG, we can do that to dominate, and then we'll play there. We'll kill you on the counter. We'll kill you in transition. So, yeah, I think we could do that. It'd be very interesting to see what game plan he comes up against. And this is ultimately where he earns his money. You know, I think in the league phase, I know he won 8 games. What was it? 1-7 and lost 1, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But this is where it really matters now, is that it's knockout football. It's a different thing. So I could equally see him going there and just playing really boring and just trying to nick it 1-0 and then come out. You know, so it's one of those. But no, I do think potentially dominating midfield with a 4 could work really well. Whether that is Jota or CJ playing in as the 4th option remains to be seen, because there was talk in the City game that if Jota had been fit in the morning, he'd have played.
Yeah, it is hard. And maybe the good thing is we've now seen it this season. We have both options, literally, that we can see. And yeah, Helios says, like every theory, when you apply pressure, how do they react to it? Maybe that'll be in his thinking about, let's try and put PSG under pressure. We can deal with it better than they can. So that'll come into the mix as well. And the final bit, we don't always do this on Stat Me Up, but it's kind of a little bit of a crossover into TMM that we had, because this player, Warren Zaire-Emery, it was a player that Sam Maguire called, linked us out with a while ago. Anfield Watch had mentioned it, that we'd looked at this player a little bit. He's had a few injuries recently as well, Bart. So we think he's going to be back for this, but not 100% certain. If he is, it does feel like it's almost a free scouting mission in it for the boys there and doing their job so they can use the trip, be a bit less than covert, shall we say. But just for those that missed it, there was quite a lot we liked about this young kid, wasn't there?
Yeah, he is. I think he's exceptional on the ball here for a midfielder. 19-year-old, I think he's 19, isn't he? I got that right.
Yeah.
He's got progressive passes 83rd, his touches in the penalty box is 73rd percentile. You know, carries and passes are very pass completion 90%, which is what we need. Progressive carries 86, so that's better than the grab you're playing in there. Passes attempted 84 percentile. In the box, it's coming, but 67 percentile for shot creating actions. Defensively, I thought he blocked well and he tackled as well. He's not really aerials or a clearance or interceptions. That's more of a passing lane blocker. He is small though, 178 centimeters. But if you look at him compared with that midfield, I mean, look at him compared to Grab. The only real area that Grab's got on him is aerials, funny enough, and tackles and dribbles. If you look at him versus Curtis, again, he compares pretty well apart from the attacking stuff. So the not putting XG and the assist, Curtis is more dominant. I don't think he's being brought in to replace Dom. No. So let's not worry about it. Yeah, Dom's a very different player. Yeah, again, Dom's out there. So yeah, I think there's a lot to like about him. The pass on him was something we looked at as well, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so he completed in total last season 1,300 passes, already this season. He's up to just sort of 1,000. So he will. So yeah, 1,400 attempted. He's up to 1,000 already. So he will smash that already, and that's good. And his percentage is good. He also mixes his game up long between long and short. So and his XG is expected. His assists has changed a little bit down, but he's probably playing more conservatively. He's playing the same number of progressive passes though, which is very good from deep. So final third passes 4.3. So yeah, I think it's a lot to like for a 19-year-old kid. But yeah, I think it'd be very interesting. You will have to caveat it with the fact that if we play 4 in it, this kid and his partner might get absolutely monstered. To be honest with you, they could get dominated because it would just be purely overloaded in terms of numbers, let alone quality. So, you said Dembele be playing in the 10. Is that right?
Yeah, they sometimes play in the 9 as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So whether they put another midfielder in there or player forward will again have a massive impact on these two players double pivot. So yeah, there's a lot to like about him. I mean, the packs out there that we've all done before, but that's different, actually, different pack. But no, that's a little preview of what we're doing tomorrow next week. But no, he does have a lot of speciality around him. I think his shot creating actions are probably an area he's dropped off from last season, but that could be down to the injuries and a changing role. But certainly his passing, I thought was exceptional for where he needs to be, and I think we looked him up as threat as well. We used a marker, and he converted. He probably was better than Grab in that area. So yeah, I think there is a lot to like. Particularly if he gets on the ball, we allow him time, which I hope he won't do. Then it'll be interesting to see what his range of passes are and see how he can hit. If they're under pressure, I'd imagine he's going to be the man that needs to get on the ball to then get out with quality into their forward plays. So if we can limit the two pivots from doing that, I think that would go a long way to us winning the game, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, a very good player to keep an eye on for people.
Yeah, there is a bit, as much as we want to win this, fingers crossed he's fit and we can see what it's about if it does come to fruition there. But yeah, Jan clock that as well, your phrase. Can't compare him to Dom. He's out there. I noticed that as well, Jan. But sometimes fair is fair. You've got to give the kid a bit of a go. And Hellier there saying, ultimately, I suppose the final thing I want to finish on with PSG in terms of the threat, it's Kavicha, isn't it, Bart? A player we would have both loved when we profiled him. We could do with him having a bit of a stinker, even though he started like a house on fire so far.
Yeah, and that's where we've profiled him before. Off the ball, he's not going to give you anything, right? I think we just accept that, right? On the ball, though, carries it. He's a very good carrier, progressive carrier, deep try player. He's not the greatest in terms of volume of passing. I mean, 80% pass completion is fine, but he's not the volume. He doesn't do that a lot. Shot creating actions 88. So he's not compared to Mo, but he's still, anything in the high 80s. He's very, very good. Non-penalty goals 78% off. So he's not as hot as you would. I mean, I'm saying it's not shots per game. What is he doing? So he's in nearly 4 shots a game. So yeah, he's in very, very good form. But there are elements where you can see he's not taking the shot on as much as he would like to. And he's not creating that much XG from it. I'm just going to compare him if I can to you go, Diaz. So this is last year, so it would have upticked a little bit since his move to PSG. But Diaz, it does compare very well with Diaz, apart from he's creating more assists than which goes. He's not taking the shot on, he's passing the ball, right? So the guy in the middle, like if you said Dembele's playing there, that's why, because Rashford is giving him the ball. So he's also very, very good, which is better than Diaz. So yeah, this will mean that Trent will have to play well. You might see Dom or Grab more over to the right. So you could see more of a double pivot rather than Mac being advanced City kind of thing. Grab was over helping Trent out. Yeah. And rather converting the City where they kind of went, go on, and you could beat Trent all day. But we know you're not going to produce anything. I can't remember the lad's name. But anyway,
Doku,
yeah. You kind of like, go on then, you do that, you don't produce anything. This lad does produce assist. So we will have to, at some point, double bank or work it out from there. So that could be a real story in the game. If we deal with him and we stop the supply to him, we should be good. Sorry.
So there are threats. And we haven't even talked about Barcola and his burning pace if he gets down the left side as well. So they have got threats, these boys.
Yeah. And he will, that will be, I'd imagine Robbo starts, if I'm being honest with you, but I think we might find off the ball with double up. The other alternative to that is that you force the winger back to defence. So this will be easier to do in a box midfield than it would in a 4-3-3. Because you can maintain outlets with the wide players with the box still supporting defensively. Yeah, in a 4-3-3, you could end up with your wide players having to come back and support a double up. Therefore, you lose your outlets up front. We have a singular outlet up front. So the tactical battle could be really interesting, and they might just decide on a risk reward of okay, we'll let them have the ball there, and then we'll deal with it here. But conversely, if you go with the box, you can also high press and stop the ball getting to the wide players. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. Doubling up is a way to do it, but an easier way is stop it at source.
There is a lot for Arne Slot to ponder before Wednesday comes. And of course, we'll see who's fit, if there's any knocks, etc. But touch wood, we will be good to go as far as we know it. So there we are, ladies and gents. Newcastle, well, Mo Salah has nearly the same amount of penalty box touches as their entire team. We dominate from start to finish. Liverpool are 13 points clear. Liverpool have got a tough game in Paris coming up on Wednesday. It will be interesting to see. We're not even fully certain what that lineup will be, what the tactics will be. But in the famous last words of a doctor, maybe not something you'd want to hear on the NHS, there is more than one way to skin a cat. So we will see what happens there. All that leaves me to say as ever is Bart for the analysis on PSG, for the bits on Newcastle, for the extra analysis as well on Emery and Kavicha. It is much appreciated.
No worries, anytime.
And ladies and gents, that was another Stat Me Up for Anfield Index.